So what is going on, you beautiful people? Welcome back to a brand new video on Path of Exiles 2. Yes, in today's video you've all seen the title and you've all seen the thumbnail, and it is about crafting in Path of Exiles 2. As many of us know, or we've heard, is yes, you can craft items in the game, and we use the crafting materials as currencies in this game, but the likes of Divine Orbs, if you actually read it, it re-rolls the stats that are on your weapon, providing it's not corrupted. The Exalt adds an extra prefix or suffix or an affix, let's say, to your weapon. There's many of different things that go into crafting this game. It's very difficult, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to craft items, how to give you an average of how much something's going to cost without actually having to use your currencies, so you can have a better understanding if you're looking at that weapon and you want to see approximately what it can get, how it can get there, how much or how many resources you're going to have to use to get it. Well, this video's got you covered. So I think without further ado, let me show you how I can turn a weapon from 0 to hero and how many currencies it's going to cost me and you. So this is where we use this website right here. It's called Craft of Exile 2. The link will be in the description. It's absolutely phenomenal. If you didn't see my best websites video, then on that video that I did do, it does explain all of the websites that I think are the best. Now there is something that I did not add to that website because it was added after I had made that video, but it's Path of Builder. Now I do understand as well Path of Builder is an application, not a website, but I thought I'd just quickly mention it here if you didn't know about it. Also, while I'm on the topic of explaining things, if you're not part of the Discord, you're not part of the Twitch, links are also in the description. So if you want to come join along, join part of the community, join the Death Squad, then go ahead and do so. So here on Craft of Exiles 2, why have I brung you onto it? Well, it has got calculators, simulators and emulators, but the one that we're going to be using today is the emulator. This is a phenomenal tool that I think everyone who wants to craft in Path of Exiles 2, or even ones that are crafted in Path of Exiles 2, should probably use to get a better understanding of what they should roll to make something even better that they have in the game, or if they want to know a base of where to start, whether they're getting a white item, a magic item, or even a rare item, how to know where to go from that, providing that the item's not vowed, because if the item has been vowed, then you can no longer craft it any further. So make sure before you vow an item, you get it to the point that you want it to, and then vow it. But if you do have a god tier, do you want to vow it? I mean, it could make the weapon go from like literally here and skyscraper up, but vowing on a top tier weapon is a little bit of a silly move. The best thing to do would be making it so you could get mirror currencies for it, where you can mirror that weapon for other people. And with using a mirror, it literally mirrors an item. So if I've got a god tier weapon and I mirror it, it will give me another god tier weapon right here, and I can keep selling the mirrored version of my god tier weapon to everyone else for hundreds of divines, and that way then I've got enough divines to buy other top tier weapons, and then I can vow chance them if that's what you're all about. But regardless, here we are. So here on Craft of Exiles 2, we can see that it says create new item. Now you could import an item from the game, but this would mean you would be required to be on PC. So if you're on PC, you can copy it and then import it straight onto the Craft of Exiles 2, so you can see the item that you've exactly got in here and what it would take, sorry I just hit my mic, what it would take to make it to what you want it to be, or to the best role, or how much it's going to cost to get it close to that role. But in terms of this video, I'm going to be doing craft a new item, not one that's imported, because obviously there's console players in here. Myself is a console player. I do have a PC, but I am on console. But here we got, click on create new item, and we'll start with the likes of, let's say, a weapon. Let's do a one-handed weapon, and we'll go with the likes of a one-handed mace, because there's currently a build right now with a war pick that is seriously broken with a crit hit chance, crit hit damage build, meaning this weapon has got critical damage bonus on it. We want to make sure the item level is the item level that you've got in the game, but if you're going to craft something to a mirror tier, you want it to be the best level anyway. So we're going to have it like that, and then just for the sakes of it as well, we're going to have it set as item quality 20, so it means we've already put the stuff on it to make it up to quality 20, and we're going to put a socket on it. Why not? Then we're going to go ahead and proceed, and we can see now this is giving us a white crafting project war pick. It's gave us the max roll here that we've imagined. We found this off of the ground, literally a white crafting project war pick. It's still white, so we haven't magicked it, we haven't done anything. Now at this point in the game, we could, for instance, if you've got a specific item, you could go ahead and add the specific sets that you've got on the item that you picked up off the floor, or you've rolled, or whatever it might be, and you could put them onto this. So let's just say I had physical damage and I had a tier 4, I could go hit add, and you see that, add that to that weapon. But we're going to go straight to the bare bones as if nothing was even on the weapon, and then craft it up. And then I'll show you a couple of examples afterwards where we have or have not got certain things on it. So when you've got a bare weapon, we can see exactly what can be used in it using this website. So rather than going in blind and having to read everything one by one, everything that is highlighted at the top here is everything that we can use on this weapon when it is white. So we can use an orb of transmutation, which upgrades a normal item to a magic item. We can use an orb of alchemy, which upgrades a normal item to a rare item. We've got this one, the Vow Orb, unpredictably changes the item and prevents the item from being crafted further. We do not want to be using this on an item when it's white. We want to be using this when it's half okay and we want the hopes of it to be getting better, whether it puts another rune socket on it or adds, for instance, 1 rage per hit, blah, 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 or even more attack speed, anything like that. Then you've got the lesser essences. These lesser essences, you click it and open it up, and you can see here it explains everything and what they do. For instance, it says upgrades a normal item to a magic with 1 physical modifier. This would do the same with a chaos modifier, defense modifier, fire modifier, speed modifier, cold modifier, so on, so forth. Then you have got over here the omens. Now, not all omens are obviously available to use. A lot of them are grayed out, but they will become available later on. But right now, the omens we could use is the dextral alchemy, which your next orb of alchemy will result in the maximum number of suffix modifiers. The sinistral alchemy, your next orb of alchemy will result in the maximum number of prefix modifiers. Then we've got the dextral plus sinistral alchemy. Your next orb of alchemy will result in the maximum number of modifiers. If I was literally just go ahead and click on this one by using these two, so in the game, if you had these in your inventory, you'd click 1 and it would look like that. You click 2 and it click like that. But if you selected both, you would have this. And if you were to press it, you can see, bam, that's basically rolled our weapon, and we can't put any exalts on it or anything because now it has been rolled to its max. That was not bad because we got 2 tier 1s there. However, one of them was accuracy plus increased light radius, so it's not really good. And just to let you know before we go any further on this website, that if we're looking at, for instance, stuff that goes onto it, so if we just chuck that on there, we can see that tier 8, tier 6, tier 8 and tier 3 here are in reverse. So on this website, tier 1 is the best, as we can see by the level presented, and tier 6, or the highest tier, is actually the worst. I don't know why that is done on this website like that, but the way to find out what is a high roll or what tier it is on your weapon and how it stands, whether it is tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, because they've been reversed, hopefully this website fix it. We want to go over to this website, and that is poe2db.tw. If we go to the top of this website, we've got some tabs up here which I can't see because my website's covering it. There we go. We've got items. Now, rather than go in there, we can literally look here because on the main page it shows it, but we're looking at, for instance, 2-hand maces. What we want, one-handed mace, so we can click on one-handed mace right there, and we can see all the prefixes and suffixes that are available for this weapon, as well as the socketables that can go onto this weapon. But if we were to click, for instance, add such and such to such and such physical damage, and we were to click on it, we could see now here what it is in terms of tier. So this would be a tier 1. They haven't actually added the tiers on here. If you were to actually look, it does say here the A is the amount of tiers that it's got. We can see here the tiers, so 10 being the highest of that, or in this case 9 being the highest, but on the other side, the Craft of Exiles, 1 is the highest. That's where it gets a bit confusing. But if you want to know if you've got a max tier roll on an item, on the item that you've got in the game, you come over to PoE2DB, you find out, right, this has got 9 tier, or 9 tier is the best of physical damage. So I've got currently on my weapon adds 21 to 31 on 36 to 53. So then I would then go over to the other website right here, and if I was to go to physical damage and I was to click that, sorry, this is the wrong one, so let's open up the other one. Hit, no, not that one, physical, this one here, and we would say, oh, it done the 21 to 31, 36 to 53, just to confirm. If we go back over here, the physical here, 21 to 31, 36 to 53. Oh, damn, so we haven't got a max tier roll. What we have got is we've got the tier 2 roll. So we can go and chuck that on the weapon. Now we can see this is tier 2, and it's not the best version, unfortunately. But that doesn't matter. At least this way you know what you've got from the game, putting it over to here. If you can't import it on console, you want to literally find one by one what you've got and just add it to it. But if you need to cross-reference, use PoE2DB and use Craft of Exiles and just input them one by one by adding them here. Okay, so as we can see, we've got the item back to scratch, and I'm going to show you from start to finish how to make a item. Well, it is a white item. So an item go from this all the way to its best possible role, basically being completely god tier or near enough to being god tier where you could then mirror it. And then also with that, because we've got the history tab right above my head that we can see exactly how much we spent, so you get a rough idea of what it's going to cost you in game to get a god roll item from a plain white. Now if you were to look on the store and you were to find an item, which I'll show you afterwards, an item that's got a lot of tier 1s, or in this case the higher tiers, the best tiers on the weapon, and it's more of the tiers that you are looking for or want, then that means you have to spend less to make it a god rolled item. So as long as it's not corrupted as well. But I'll show you everything to do with the trade store in a moment. Firstly, let's go through this step by step on how to craft this weapon up to a god tier. So as we saw before, that everything that's highlighted is what we can use on this weapon. Vow Orb is definitely something that we would not use on this weapon to start off with. And then we've got the likes of omens, and then runes and soul cores. Now, the runes and soul cores on this, for some reason, it doesn't show all of the soul cores anyway, so don't worry about that. But starting with it, we could go for the likes of the Orb of Transmutation to upgrade a normal item to a magic item, which is typically what you do. It's where you go like this, and then you'd put an Orb of Augmentation, then you would Regal Orbit, then you would Exalt it to the max. That is the worst way you could do this. Why? Because you are literally going off of pure RNG. You can actually craft and reduce the amount of RNG by using certain things. So literally by doing that, yes, we got physical damage, yes, we got lightning damage, yes, we got cold damage, yes, we got melee damage, life per enemy killed and life per enemy hit. This is not great by all means. We want to undo that and come all the way back to start as if it was a white weapon, and we want to actually start off using the lesser essences. Before the weapon becomes rare, these two need to become your best friend in order to craft something to its best possible abilities. If it's obviously brought with high tier rolls, then these we don't need to worry about because it would already be rare, and now we're going to be trying to craft it in a better manner. But if you are going to craft it from the start, then you want to go for the lesser essences, and then in the lesser essences, based on what armor you've got. Dark Abdi, welcome to the Death Squad. If you subscribe while I'm making a video, I'll make sure I give you a shout out, so welcome aboard. Anyway, so yeah, the reason you want to use the essences to start off with, because as you can see, upgrades a normal item to a magic item with one physical modifier, or so on and so forth. Chaos, defense, fire, haste, so being speed. We've got loads of different ones, so you can kind of, depending obviously on your weapon, if it's quarterstaff, whether it's a wand, whether it's I don't know, a piece of armor, evasion armor, and you want more suffixes in that terms, and you want them to be more protection, you can do all of that with using these. But in this case, being this weapon, we know what we're looking for. What we're looking for with a war pick is we're looking for critical chance, we're looking for critical damage, so obviously key suffix rolls, and we're also looking for the likes of physical damage percentage and physical power, and then whatever the last one be, whether it be attack speed, that would be good, or it could be likes of additional melee damage or anything like that. Levels to melee damage is what I mean. Could be anything like that last roll. We can really perfect it so we could actually get more percentage of physical damage and accuracy, which is this one that you see here. So if we go to prefixes, we can see we got the physical damage, we got the physical damage and accuracy, and then we got the increased physical damage. So these two plus this one would be perfect. However, we could get these two and elemental damage. The main ones we want is, this one and this one. These are the main two that we want. And we can see here as well, looking at this Craft of Exiles, that they are damage, physical, and attack, meaning the essences that we're looking for is attack. This is a physical modifier, so we could go for a physical modifier. If we look at physicals is only 1, 2, and 3. If we went for attack, so if we went for the likes of this one down here, the Essence of Battle, we've actually got a chance of increased elemental damage with attack, physical damage. We got too many rolls, so we need to try and rule out as many rolls as possible and try and get more down the line of what we're looking for. So if we go for physical, then we know that we can only get these 3, so we want to roll physical essences on this. And if you're on any other weapon, if it's cold, well then you look down the prefixes, you look down the suffixes. What is a physical prefix going to look like, or what is a physical suffix going to look like? As we can see here, leeches percentage of physical damage as life. So if we put physical on, we might actually get one of these, which still isn't bad, especially if we get the physical damage as mana. That's great. Obviously, if you want to get the level of melee skills and you want to go for attack, etc., you kind of get the understanding by looking at what is to the side of it. Could be the determining factor of what essence or greater essence you choose. So in this case, we're looking to get a prefix and we're looking to get physical, which you can see is this one. So with that being said, let's click on the physical essence of torment. We can see which one we're clicking on because it's now highlighted, and then you will see it when you're hovering over the weapon. And by clicking this, we should get one of them three that we can see that's got physical on, or one of the suffixes. Hopefully we get one of the prefixes. So we click that. We got the physical damage as life. So that is not something that we wanted. We got this one. I would have rathered mana than that. And unfortunately, even if you try and return it with the Orb of Annulment, it still stays as a magical item. So that is not good. If you had something like this, don't worry, don't stress about it. Remember, that could be that third slot that you didn't have to worry about, which helps you later on. So that is all okay. Then we can move on to greater essences here that we can see, which upgrades a magic item to a rare one with a physical modifier. Or yet again, like it says, we can do this, or we could firstly go ahead and go along with the Orb of Augmentation. So in this case, I would actually go for an Orb of Augmentation and I would go and chuck it on it. The reason I'd do that is because we're not too bothered about this one. It just gives us an extra chance, and this is where you would find out whether you should throw it or whether you should really invest your currency. So if I press that, it's giving us accuracy rating. So in this case, I would actually scrap this weapon and get rid of it because it's going to make it that much more expensive to roll these off at a later stage. You could, in this case, because now you know what it's got on it, you don't have to worry about using a greater essence. You could use a greater essence, or you could literally just go ahead and throw a regal orb on it, see if you get anything else. Literally, this weapon is ruined. I would not bother with it because it's going to cost me too much. So then I would go back all the way and restart on a new weapon. Now, if I'm on a new weapon, yet again, what we're going to do is we're going to go for the essences. We're going to go for the physical modifier. We're going to hit bang. Then we got physical damage as mana. That is okay. It is a tier 4, so it's not the greatest roll that we could get on it, but that is something that we're definitely looking for. Let's go and chuck an Orb of Augmentation on it, and we can see that's giving us physical damage at tier 4 as well, so it's not actually that bad, but we don't have to worry about that just yet. That's a good way to start. Now, while we're still on magic, while the weapon is still blue before turning rare, this is where we want to go to greater essences. Now, on greater essences, yet again, like we said before, we've got upgrades a magic item to a rare one with a physical modifier. So we could literally go and click that because that is what we're going to want. But remember, you have got all the haste and everything like that. So it's completely up to you. And if you come into the omens, you can see what omens are available. So your next Orb of Annulment will remove only prefixes, suffixes, can add to or remove two, sorry, and you can do stuff like that. But in this case, we're going to go for the greater, and we're going to go for the essence of torment. So bam, I'm going to hit that on it, and great, we've now got a tier 3 on there with 153% plus a tier 4 on there with quite a high damage roll. So this is not a bad war pick as it stands. Now, unfortunately, in this situation, we can't now choose what gets rolled onto it. This is a bit of RNG right here, but this is where you'll find out your actual cost of an item. So when you're in this stage, yes, the only thing you can really do is go and throw Exalted. You could kind of switch it up a little bit and you could go for Omens, and you could, for instance, with the Omens, you could try and get something that removes what you've got on there. And as it says, it only will remove one suffix. As we can see, we've only got one suffix on there, so we could actually just remove that one suffix because we're guaranteed that it's going to remove just that suffix, meaning then we can get a different suffix on it. So that is something you could do. I personally wouldn't recommend. I would ignore that situation in this moment because we've got a half decent roll. I would be looking to either add 2 modifiers, 2 prefixes, 2 suffixes, but in this case we can't add 2 prefixes because we've already got a prefix, 2 prefixes on there, so only 1 more prefix can go on there and only 2 more suffixes. But sometimes it works out cheaper to actually go ahead and put, for instance, your next Exalted will add 2 random suffixes. It can be cheaper and it cannot be, depending on what it is for you. Anyway, so I'm literally at this point gonna grab myself an Exalted Orb because, as I was showing, there is nothing we can do now. This is where the RNG comes in, or you could obviously use Chaos or Saturn, but I wouldn't use it. But this is where the RNG comes in, where you got to hope, pray to the gods that you get something half decent. You want to hope by now you've already got 2 high tier rolls. So we're going to go and put these on, okay? Now we've got our remainder of our suffix modifiers, and then we've also got our last physical modifier. Now the last physical modifier that we got was yet again great. We got the increased physical damage, and we got the accuracy to or accuracy rating. So that is actually a really good roll. We got a tier 4, we got a tier 3, and we got a tier 4. So they're actually not bad prefix modifiers. Now we've seen here with the suffixes, we got the physical damage as mana, and we got crit chance, and we got strength. Strength is something we don't really want, but don't worry. Do you know what's so lucky about this? So we can see here that the lowest tier here is tier 6. This is the worst item. Now this is where crafting really comes to light and where the magic really happens. This is when you want to make omens your best friend. So in this situation, we go over to omens, and you've got all of the different omens, but the ones we want to focus on at this point, now we've got a max roll. Matthew West just subscribed. Welcome to the Death Squad amigo. Free finger salute. Well, if you subscribe, obviously when I'm making a video, I make sure I give you a shout out. Anyway, so here we want witlings to become our best friends. Why? Because your next chaos orb will remove the lowest level modifier. In this case, that is the lowest level modifier on this weapon. And if you want to target a specific area, whether it be a suffix or prefix, you can combine the Whitling with the Whitling Dextral Erasure or Sinistral Erasure to either remove a prefix and a suffix. Now in the game, when you click on these, you'll right click it and it will highlight your inventory to show that it's highlighted and it's active, and then you would go ahead and click the other one, make sure that's active, and then you would go ahead and use a Chaos Orb. So in this case, you don't have to do it on the website. You don't have to click that and then click the Chaos Orb. You just click that and it will show over the weapon. So we've got, for instance, the lowest level suffix modifier here, which is the attribute. But in this case, because it is the lowest tier over the whole weapon, I'm actually going to save my money. I'm not going to use, along with it, the Dextral and Norman. I'm going to just use the, sorry, not the Dextral Erasure, sorry. I'm not going to use that, which is this one here. I will just use the Whitling, and I will just hit that on there because it's going to remove the lowest level modifier, so it's guaranteed to remove that. So I'll go and chuck that on there. Bam, we can see that that's now been removed. It didn't remove the lowest one. It removed a level 5. So that didn't work how it's actually meant to. It took the crit hit chance off and turned it to attack speed, yet the crit hit chance was a tier 5 and the attack, the accuracy was a tier 6. In the game, it worked as intended. Here it didn't, which is very bizarre. But anyway, now if we use the Whitling, it should remove the tier 6. It did, but it converted it to another tier 6. Actually, this weapon would be really good. But anyway, we're going to remove that again. Now you can see it's removed the tier 6 again. So now that has become a tier 1. So now that is a perfect roll on that item, if that is the item that you want and the roll you want, or the thing that you want. So that's life physical attack, so leech X amount of physical damage as life, right? In this case, you can literally keep spamming this Whitling to get everything to tier 1. So in theory, if you brought loads of Whitlings, you can just keep rolling it until everything you see on here becomes tier 1. Why not? You might as well. Now everything's tier 1. You've basically got a god tier weapon. The problem you've got in this situation, if you get everything to tier 1, that we're seeing that we're doing right here. One sec, we'll get there. 1 second, we're still going. Oh, I believe that was a tier 1. Jason Wannick Lee, welcome to the Death Squad amigo. Free finger salute. If you subscribe while I'm making a video, I'll make sure I give you a shout out. We keep going. I think I did have a tier 1 and I accidentally over-tiered. There we go. So we got all tier 1s now. So now the problem with tier 1s, it's like, oh crap, now the Whitlings are not really that good, because now that they're all on there in tier 1s, it's just going to remove one random modifier, and that is not what we want to do. That's going to literally kill the weapon. As we can see, it's turned lightning damage, etc. on this weapon. So bam, that is not good. That's where you would have obviously used, for instance, the let's go back a little bit to where we've got what we were at. Let's just go where we've got multiple. I can't remember what stage we were at when we had multiple. Anyway, so this is where we were to start off with. We can see that we'd only used 3 and we got to this point. Right, so we got Manic physical damage attack with damage. These are perfect. Right, but I actually want to improve one of my prefixes. So this is where I would go, for instance, to use a Whitling and a Sinistral Erasure. Now, I don't need to, because I don't like... Or, sorry, I do like all of these. You could still use it just to try and get a higher tier of something. But let's just say we know that these two are both tier 4. If I was to use this as your lowest level prefix modifier to try and get a god roll, then I would use the Whitling and the Sinistral Erasure together. And it's going to roll one of the 4 prefixes. And they're both tier 4. So we click that. Bam. That's turned 1 into a tier 3. Sorry, it's a tier 9. It's given us cold. So now we roll that again, it would attack that one. It's done lightning. This is a problem, because once that one has now become lightning, it means that that won't roll that one anymore because it's tier 1. So it's now going to roll the other ones, which is going to kill the build. But this is where I say try and find a weapon with a couple of tier 1s, or at least high tiers, and the actual roll that is on there, for instance, the accuracy, you don't like it. Let me show you an example on the trade site. Okay, so now we're on the official trade site, and with being on the trade site, we want to go ahead and find an item with quite high tier rolls, and then we want to see if we can craft it up by giving you an example on how we can make just a normal okay bow here, an expert bow, and how much it's approximately going to cost. So let's go. And how do we find a bow? Obviously, for one is we can either search the name, we can go to item category, and we can go down to the likes of bow. We can choose item rarity. This could be magic, rare, unique, normal. We've got all our different stat filters. You've got all of these special stats that you see here on the sides. You can increase the amount of chance you want it. You can literally go ahead and put in individual ones. So if you want it to have runes already on it, if you want to have the item quality already at 20, where it's already been upgraded and stuff like that. The most important thing to me is the stats, not really this. This is something, if you are interested, obviously you can open up the question mark there and see exactly what it does. You've also then got requirements here, so the level, the dexterity, the strength, the intelligence. Then you got the waystone filter if you want waystones. You got the gems. You can see if you want it corrupted or not. In this case, we do not want it corrupted because we want to be able to craft it up to a better version. So we're going to hit no on the corrupted. Now, the bow that we are going to be looking for, ladies and gentlemen, is actually going to be a dual string bow, because that is probably one of the best bows in the game. We hit search right now, and then we click max DPS quantity. We can see that this is the best bow. We can see that this has got a mirror icon. Now, the person, when you go, I want this, will probably in the game tell you exactly how many divines they want, with you giving them a mirror in order to be able to get this weapon. So this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of weapons that you're going to be crafting, so then you can get 500, 600, 700 divines per weapon, because these weapons are mirrored. Now you can see obviously it's facing the other way, meaning it has been mirrored. These are all mirrored because it says down below, and this is basically that person has made a load of other bows and is selling them off. You can see by looking at this bow will cost you 799 divines, but they've crafted this, and to craft it, it's probably only cost them 100, 200 divines, and then with obviously a couple of extras. So we're just saying about 200 divines, but it's so worth the investment, because if you get a mirrored item, then obviously now you can go ahead and bring in this sort of money every time someone wants one, which is flipping huge. But yet again, it does cost you, and they would have to give you the mirrored orb and the divines as well to get the weapon back from you. So they'll probably give you their weapon, or just a plain weapon. You would then mirror that weapon, and then when you go to trade it back to them, they'll give you divines, and then you both hit accept when you've both got the right amount. And that's normally how a mirror sale works in terms of trade. Right. But we can't afford this. We want to craft this. How do we do so? We can see here by looking at the top weapons in terms of DPS, they've all got the same sort of pattern. They've all got, I just hit my microphone, sorry about that. They've all got increased physical damage. They've all got physical damage. By looking at them, obviously we can see, go down a little bit further just to confirm. We can see that they still want to mirror this one. So yeah, they've all got that. Right, so that's fizz. They've all got accuracy. They've all got attack speed. They've all got projectile. And they've all got bow attacks fires 2 additional arrows. So these are the kind of searches we're going to want in order to be able to craft it. Now, we do not need to have everything on there, but what we are seeing on here, on all of them at least, is the bow attacks fire 2 additional arrows. That's one thing that I would really try and look for, because that is something that's going to be really hard to roll on. So I'd try and get that personally on my weapon without worrying about anything else to start off with. Now, when you go up to show filters, this is where you've got a budget. So it all depends on how much you've got to buy it with. I'd remove that exalted orb part there, and I would go down to either exalted, or I'd go down to divine orbs and put in the money you've got. So in this case, we'll see first if there's any for exalted orbs. Now, exalted orbs, there's never really going to be anything too expensive. We go ahead and click search, and we click the max one. Okay, there is things that are really expensive, but if we go down to realistic prices, we have starting to get stuff. I don't know why these ones are so flipping expensive. We go down to these ones like 300. These must be RMTs, like real money transactions. There's no way that these cost this much, because if we click max DPS here at the top. The ones with the most DPS in the dual string bow only cost you 200 exalts. So that is more or less what you're looking for. That's just about 1 divine or something like that. If we see 388 as well in terms of that just being 1 divine, 30 exalts, which I think is the current market. If we go to divine orbs and we put max 1 or 2, we could do, is there something that's 388? This is 402, so it's already better than the one that was showing on the other thing. But that's not what we're actually looking for. We're looking for certain roles because it doesn't have to have high DPS. We're going to make it high DPS. So we don't actually have to worry about it having high physical damage and stuff on it. The main thing that we wanted to worry about, because it's one of the hardest, rarer roles to get onto it, is, what was it? It was bow attack fires additional arrows, and we want the minimum to be 2. So if we click on Exalted first to see if there's anything with that, we hit search, there's only 4 results. So it's really easy obviously to find something here by just looking at it if it's going to be any good for us. And we can see that that one's got physical, lightning, critical, not that great. We can look at obviously the tiers by looking at these. Is there anything that we really want on these? Crit chance not bad, accuracy not bad, dexterity not bad, but these are not great. So this is not where I would start looking for a bow. I would actually then go into this situation with the bow attack fires, additional arrows, go over to divine, and I'll put my budget as 5. Now if we hit search, we've now got 135 results. Rather than having to go down and tiring out your brain by looking at stats, this is where we can make it pretty fun. This is where we got the filters. Now you could go ahead and put in every filter here and hope it's got it on it. So we could do fizz, increase physical damage. We can do fizz, and we could go adds to physical damage. We can hit search. Now it's only going to show us bows that have got the 2 bows, physical damage. We can hit DPS there, and that could give us a good search, meaning that is the best that we've got for that. That is really poor DPS considering these should be the best rolls on it. We can even do that so we got the highest percentage. We can even do that so we got the highest physical. The problem with that is these two things that are not going to be this price if they're on it, or a good roll of it at least. So we'd actually want to remove them. The way that we find what is good and what's bad is we want to go ahead and hit an add stat group, and this is where weighted needs to become your best friend. So we hit weighted 1 and we hit add stat filter. Now we go ahead and put physical. So now this is where we can go increase physical damage, and then we could also put physical, and we got adds to physical damage. And then obviously we've got the bow attacks, but what would be another thing that we were seeing on the other bows? Well, we were seeing on the other bows accuracy rating. Now I am hoping that because there's 2 different accuracies that this does it. If we go and hit that and we go and hit this, does it show accuracy on here? None of this one's showing accuracy. Is this coming up as one of my sums though? This is accuracy. This okay, yeah, it's showing up correct. So that's good. Then we could also add the suffixes. The best thing I would do for suffixes personally with doing a weighted sum is you could either for 1 go and add it to this. So if we went and just did attack speed, and then we also did, what was the last one we wanted? Projectiles. A projectile increase to level to all projectile skills, right? If we then go and add weights, so what is more important out of this list? The accuracy is the least important. So we put the weight of that as 1. Now it could go up to, because it goes 1 for 1, as accuracy, if we click on one with accuracy, for every 1 point of accuracy, it will give you 1 point of this. So if I was to go and show you, because I've got that weighted sum 1, if I go and hit search and I go and click on sum, that's going to be quite a high sum because the accuracy, means this accuracy is not the correct one. If I go and click the other one, this one, and now I go and hit sum, and now I click sum there, it's 575. Why? Because that accuracy is so high. So we don't want accuracy to be that good. We don't want the weight of it to be that good 1 for 1. We want the weight of it to be a lot lower, or we don't really want to worry about the weight of that to be interfering with our main thing that we've got going on our weapon. So we could actually shift accuracy off of this weapon because that could interfere with the sum. But if you want to counteract that, we could literally just go and test all the weights 1 by 1 and see what they do. So if we went and, for instance, put in increase physical damage, that gives us 1 weight, just so you can get an understanding. Now we click sum, we can see that. Why is it still doing accuracy? Let's just hide that for now. Let's do that, and now let's click sum. We can see that physical is going 1 for 1 as well. So this is a good way for you to understand your weights. But we can see that obviously accuracy had 575 in terms of sum. So that means we'd actually need to increase this by X amount in order for it to balance itself out for the weight of this compared to the other one. So if we say we can get a stupid, ridiculous amount of that, in order for them two to balance out, we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we just put 5 on there, and then we were to hit search, we can see 1 would be worth 5 in terms of sum. So now we've got 755 for that, 750 for that, which is a good way of figuring it out. That way you can see roughly what everything is. If you want to make sure that that is the main thing that you want to see on the weapon, you can make it so the sum of that is 100. Now you click on that, we can see it's worth, well, it just goes off the chart really, so it's not worth doing that. But you could put 10, so then you know that's going to be like 1,500. So that is actually probably a good number to put on there, so you know approximately what the physical damage is doing on the weapon. Now we want to hide this one as well, and we could go and put one weighted sum on here so we can kind of figure out what the weight will be of this one. Now if we click sum and we click 1, we can see it's 46. So what is it going off of? This is the really confusing part with adds such and such to such and such physical damage, because we can see that's giving 46, but here it's 52. We can see this one's given 38 and here it's 38, so that's good. Here it's given 37, but here it's 38. So how on earth are they doing the sum of these? Yeah, that's 18 to 38. This is 18 to 38, but the sum is completely off with these. So this is really awkward. The only thing I would do here in terms of this is maybe put 100 on this, so you at least it tries to add it to the weapon. So just by doing that, we can see that it's trying to get the higher roll of it, so you can get the sum at least on the weapon in your sums. So that's, you could do 100 or you can do whatever's more important to you, or wherever you want to try and balance it out a little bit more. Removing that, moving attack speed, we could put 1 on that, and let's see what the percentage is of attack speed to weight. So by doing that and clicking sum, we can now see that attack speed 17, it's giving us 17, 17, 17, 16, 16. So that is 1 for 1 in terms of attack speed. So that's where we'd want to probably go for 10 of that as well, so we can obviously get a better roll on that. And I keep saying obviously, so I am sorry, because I did that in the last video. The reason you're watching this video is because it's not obviously or obvious, so I am sorry. It's just something I do, it's habit. Yeah, anyway, we can see now that the sum is 170 out of 17, so that is not a bad way of doing it. But if attack speed is quite important to you, well then we can crank that up, and we can now it's by 10, we can do it by 100 yet again. We can go and hit that, and now by hitting the sum, we can now see it's 1,700, so that makes the weight more reasonable with that. Now removing that, we can go to projectiles. If we put 1 on that, what is the actual going rate of the sum for this? So it's 3, so it's 3 for 3. We got 2 for 2, so this is 1. So we might actually for this want to go like 1,000. So if we've got that on the weapon, it actually gives us 3,000, let's say. So this will make it go up quite a lot. So now we've got our weight balanced out. Let's ignore the accuracy, just because it's just really complicated. If we really wanted to, we could just have accuracy rating on here, and we can leave it like that. And then with doing the search, this accuracy hasn't got anything. Doing the search, it will make sure it has accuracy on the bow at least, which is really good. And because we've set out our weights like this, physical has got that much weight, because obviously it goes off up to 150, and then that physical damage, because it's a lot lower number, because the attack speed's a lot lower number, and because how important this is for us, we could now literally go over here. It's showing 78 results that have got these on it. It will show things that have got other things. You can see a physical cold, but we were to go ahead and click sum now, we would now find items with the most accurate stats on the weapon based on what we've got on the weighted sum. So this is showing that it's the best. Why is it showing it's the best? Because it's got the physical damage on it, it's got projectile skills in it. Because we've cranked up the projectile skills, it's really wrapped up this score in here. But this one's got the physical, lightning, level projectiles, and fire arrows. But because it's just showing these and not showing what we really want, we're gonna have to crank some things down and try and get better rolls of said items. Yeah, again, by looking at this, we can see that we want to, for instance, find something that has got a higher roll. So we'd go back over to PoE 2DB, and we will look at the max tiers. So if we were to then look at, for instance, where are we? The accuracy rating, that's a 10. 10 would be 551 to 650. So that would be the best. If we were then to go back over to this, we can see, for instance, that is showing as a lower grade, and it's actually got 2 rolls onto it. One is obviously increased physical. So let's, anyway, I'm rambling on and I'm doing a lot of talking, and I don't know if I'm actually helping the situation here. So, best thing to do is find the best roll of everything. So we know that the best roll of the, because the weighted sum's pretty confusing. We know that projectiles, the best thing is to have 5 on that. So if we get projectiles to 5. 1 sec, 5. What is the cheapest item that's got 2 attacked additional arrows and level 5 projectile skills? If we hit search, we can't get any for 5. Just go and hit search. What is the cheapest? 14 is the cheapest of that. But at least we now know we've got both of these at max tier. So if we were to look at projectile skills, it's saying tier 5, and bow arrows tier 2. We go over to PoE 2DB. Fire additional arrows is 2. And then what was the other one that we were looking at? Projectiles 5 is the highest tier. So 5 and 2 are the highest tier. You want to basically try and find a bow with the highest roll of everything on it possible. And this is only showing 9 results, so at least we've got 2 of them that are quite high. This has got a really high increased physical damage, but yet again, it's 150 divines, so it's not that great to have. If we go over to exalted, is there any exalted bows with this on it? I very highly doubt it. Yeah, it's not got it on it. So we want to try and find what's best. So this is where I would go ahead and do the weights. I'm going to do some weights. I'm going to find something really good, and then I'm going to show you. Okay, so with adjusting my weights with the projectile skills, attack speed, physical damage, and increased physical damage, I've adjusted this because this is more an important one for me, having a higher percentage on this. I've managed to search and find these weapons right here. We can see that this one for 10 divines give me 131% increased physical damage, which is kind of annoying because if we go over to PoE 2DB and we go to increased physical damage, this one here, that the one that gives me 131 is bloodthirsty, so it's actually giving me a tier 4, which is not great. It's not something that we really want. We'd want something a little bit higher, but we can see moving over to the right that there's one with 151. We got one down here for 2 divines that's got 150. Obviously click the sum. 150 would make sure that we're in the crawl. Is there anything with 155 plus? So at least we got a higher roll there. I can't see anything with 155. In this case, we could obviously click increase physical, but we can see that that is the most increased physical damage that we got here for under 10 divines. So I've gone 10 divines, so it's a bit fairer on the price. But this one was really good in terms of weighted sum. Why? Because it's showing it's got the bow attacks, fire additional arrows 2. It's got the increased attack speed 17, which is really good because we put a good weight on that. We got increased physical damage 131 because we got a high weight of that. And then we got adds physical damage. Now that's not shown on here because it's not given enough weight to the item. Now we've got, if we move over, why is this one showing as a high? Well, this one shows a high because it's obviously got the increased physical damage here with 151. But I still think this one is better like it is showing because it's got the attack speed on it. So it's got 2, almost 3 of the best things on it. Physical damage could be really big, obviously, to the build. I keep saying obviously, so do excuse me. That really annoys me now. And I've noticed that I'm doing it because of a comment on the last video. So I am sorry. And I'll obviously try to stop it. Anyway, moving down, obviously, okay, so now that we found the bow that we want, which is this one right here, we can see it's got some good rolls. It's got tier 1, tier 1. I believe that's like a tier... It's a tier 4. We can see it there. It's got a tier 4 on that. So it's not that great. This has got a tier 4 too. So these are actually they roll intertwine. So we can still put more exalts onto this. So let's go ahead and chuck this onto the crafting site and see what we can turn this bow into. And it can still actually roll one other affix onto it because it's only got 5. So we go to craft of exiles. We'll go and reduce this down so I can see this bow here on this side and what it's got. Create new item. We go two-handed weapons. We go to bows. Now we go down to expert dual string bow. So there's expert dual string here. We click that and what is it? It's item level 82. Its quality is at 20. Obviously, if I expand it, you'll see it. And it's got item sockets 2. Let's go ahead and hit that. And then, sorry, when we're on here, we want to go and add these to the craft of exile. Obviously, if you're on PC, then you can just import things, which makes it a little bit easier. So let's go ahead and start with the prefixes. It's got increased physical damage. It has got 131%. And it was a tier 4. Yeah, it's tier 4 and a tier 2. Just go and chuck the tier 4 on there. And then it's got the accuracy, which if we were to go, it's got the accuracy and physical. This one and that is a tier 2. But a tier 2, and this would be this one right here, I believe. Then it's actually got accuracy rolled onto it, which is a tier. So that might have even been a tier, like the lowest tier, the 1. Then it's got for suffixes, sorry, accuracy, straight accuracy, which is a tier 2. Where is a tier 2 here? This one. So that's why it's got such poor accuracy on this weapon. And then it's got the suffixes that the weapon's got has increased attack speed. So if we go down to attack speed, where is attack speed on this weapon? Here. And we've got a tier 1, which is obviously the highest tier, but in this case it is a tier 5. And if we were to just confirm that with you guys by going over to this website and go into attack speed right here, we can see that tier 5 is 17 to 19. And by going back onto the other website, we could see that, where are we? We are here. We could see that literally the 17 to 19 was the highest tier, which is obviously a tier 5, but on the website it's tier 1 for some really bizarre reason. Then we've got bow attack fires 2 arrows. So bow attacks fire arrows, and we want to go and hit 2. And then we've also got increase light radius. So where is that? Increase light radius. Light radius and accuracy. What rank is it? It's S1. Tier 1. So it's this one right there. So that is the exact weapon. Obviously they give you different rolls. If you want to try and get closer to the roll that's on there to make it a little bit more accurate, you could divine it until you get the exact numbers that are showing on there and that are showing on here. So if we would say that one now is showing our accuracy rating, because it's got that plus that, it's probably more or less the exact same, which makes it a little bit better. That I don't know if this is actually on there. If it's not, then great, you can go ahead and exalt it, but let's just say it is on there. Right, so let's reduce that. We've now got the weapon on this website and we want to make it better. So let me go and remove these divines so we can see exactly how much it's going to cost to turn this weapon here into one of the best weapons in the game. So this is where omens now need to become your best friend. So if you go into omens, you can see this one here, the whittling. Your next chaos orb will remove the lowest level modifier. Now we don't want to just remove the lowest level modifier, because the lowest level modifier in this case obviously is the accuracy rating, and then the damage to physical and the increased physical damage and accuracy rating is the next lowest. So we could go and use just these two to remove these two, or re-roll them, let's say. But what I would want to do, if not on a normal situation, is you want to add a whittling and a dextral, or a whittling and a sinistral erasure. And what these would do is your next chaos orb will remove the lowest level prefix or suffix on your weapon. So let's just say in this case the suffix, they're all pretty good. They're all tier 1. But if this wasn't what we thought it was, let's do that and let's just do tier 3, right? So that is the, yeah, it's actually this one, because it's got the 5%. It didn't have 15, so I actually did it wrong. So let's just say this one here, the suffix, these two are great suffixes, but this is a bad suffix. So what we'd do is we'd go to the whittling dextral erasure, and your next chaos orb will remove the lowest level suffix. In the game, you would click on the whittling and it would highlight it. You'd then click on the dextral erasure and it would highlight it. So now they're both highlighted. Then you'd click the chaos orb and you'd go and chuck it on there. But because we can't do it on this website like this, we literally just click here and we click it onto the weapon. And what it's going to do is the lowest one, or in this case the highest one, which is the tier 3, is going to be re-rolled. We're looking now to try and min-max that, so we're going to press that. Let's give us critical hit chance. It's a tier 5, so we can do better. Now we could be happy with that and leave it like that and go, right, okay, I'm happy, but just because it's got critical hit chance. But in the case of the video and we're trying to make a god roll to mirror it, we're going to roll it again. That's giving us life, physical attack, leeches, physical damage as life. Not what we wanted. We could have done with critical hit chance or something like that, but in this case, if we were to now put another dextral erasure plus a whittling on here, it's actually going to remove one of these 3, which is a chance we do not want to take. We'd rather keep this tier 1 so we don't lose these 2 tier 1s. But we can see here moving up for the prefix modifiers, the 2 lowest, we could consider re-rolling. So we'd click the Whittling, the Sinistral Razor, and then a Chaos Orb. We can see we've currently used 2 Chaos Orbs. So we're now going to hit that. Bam. What did it do? It changed accuracy rating or one of them to lightning damage. We hit it again. It's now changed 1 to a tier 4 increased elemental damage with attacks. So the only one it's going to hit right now is going to be this one, the lightning damage here. So if we hit that, it's changed the lightning damage to physical damage tier 6. So it's yet again, it's always going to target the lowest or the highest, depending on what it is for you. And that's just changed the increased physical damage and to accuracy rating. We're going to keep going until we get a better roll of that. So the better roll now, for some reason it rolled a tier 4. Don't ask why, I'm not too sure why it did that. But now it's changed that to a tier 10. In the game it wouldn't do that. But we've got physical damage. We're going to keep rolling this till we get one that makes sense to us. That's now a tier 3. So the problem here now with using this is it's going to roll one of the tier 4s. So it's going to use the elemental cold damage or the increased physical damage because they're both tier 4. So it could do either. Lucky for us, it rolled for some reason the one that it definitely wasn't meant to roll, which was this one, which was tier 2. If we go hit it again, it's now not rolled that, rolled one of the others, which is completely fine. This is actually not... Right now, if I was creating this weapon, I would sit with this. But remember, this has cost us a lot of materials to just walk away with a non-mirrored item. I would now be fully committing. Like I said, it's going to probably cost you about 200 divines, maybe a little bit more to get a mirrored item. So let's carry on going down this journey. So we got a tier 5. We want to try and get these to tier 1 and we want them to be a good roll, or tier 2 with a good roll. So increase elemental damage 2. No. Let's try and see what tier 1s we can get on this. Sorry, I come back at 1 then, because this is actually not a bad shout right here. This personally, I would consider mirroring this bow. Because yes, the top 3 are tier 2s, but you could do this as a mirror for a lower cost. So we did see that mirror on the website was 790 divines. Some people might have a mirror and only 200 divines. Well, this could be that one. It could be a good way for you to bump up, get your divines up, so you can actually start crafting more weapons. So as you can see with how this weapon landed, we've now got a tier 2 increased physical damage, and accuracy rating, increased physical damage, and damage to physical attacks. These are all at tier 2 and these are all at tier 1. This is a really good bow, and we can see it's cost us 55 whittlings plus dextral razors or sinistral razors overall. So it's cost us 50. Now, there's one other thing that we can do when we're at this stage. Obviously, you can add your runes and your soul cores, but if we look, these rolls are not quite where we want them to be. So we can see that this roll here is at 65, but can go up to 74. And this one's 154 and can go up to 174. This one's 164 and can go up to 169. This one's 31 and 53. So that's actually the best roll that you can get on that. The suffix, the attack speed is actually the best version of it. The bow attacks to fire at arrows is obviously the best. And this is quite a high roll. So would I actually go and chuck a divine on this now? No, as we can see, a divine here randomizes the numeric values of the random properties on an item. If you at this point had really bad rolls, even though they're all tier 1 and they are the stats that you want, you could literally go and chuck a divine on it and it's going to change all of the random numbers on the weapon. Now that was absolutely beautiful what I just did. I used one divine and it increased the physical damage in here up to 74. It increased this one up to 167. It increased this one to 28 to 53, which I'm completely fine with. The attack speed stayed the same. The bow obviously stayed the same. And then the life physical attack went down a little bit. But this bow is near on perfect, being a tier 2 prefixes, but tier 1 suffixes. This is near on perfect. And it's literally cost us this. You can just yet again redo it over and over and over again until you get the best variant of the weapon that you want. Or you can go ahead and rather than doing it yourself, you can go ahead and click simulator and you can go use emulator settings. Or you can go do simulator in general. Let's go back, emulator, wait, we want to go Path of Exiles 2. Simulator, we could do restored save items, so we could go back to the one we're on. Or we can create a new item, so we can go here. Two-handed weapons, we can go to bow, we can go down to the expert dual bow, where are we? Dual string bow, we can do item quality, proceed, and then we can go ahead and do simulator, where we can simulate 99 results of what would happen if we went and done omens on it, etc. And you can literally, rather than you having to do it all manually, you can go, what would happen if we did that over 99 times, what your average cost would be per item, getting it to where you want it to be. So it's completely up to you. And we want it not to have automatic success. We want it to roll it without automatic success, so it goes and continues. And this would be like, for instance, where if it fails, it loops and it keeps trying to get you the better version, and it will find you the exact cost of what it's going to be. But in this case, I would personally use the emulator, so you can understand a little bit more, little by little, what is happening, how to make it better. And then you can do that with each weapon and see how much it's approximately going to cost you to roll a best version of that weapon in the game. So my take, obviously, on the whole crafting after explaining it all to you is find a weapon that has got high rolls on the trade site. So we go back to the trade site. Where are we? Here. Find a weapon that's got high rolls using the weighted sums, etc. And when we've got that, then we would obviously buy it and have it into our inventory. And then we would go over, because we've checked that what the rolls are good by looking at PoE 2DB. All these links are going to be in the description. Then we go over to Craft of Exiles and we go and punch it into here. And we'll keep just clicking all of the different omens and find out approximately how much materials, or how many materials it's going to cost us to get it. You do it about 10 times over. So you'd bring it back to the base setup that you had it, or the base of what your weapon is. You do it about 10 times over, and then you can see what your average is and see if it costs you 10 that time, 20 that time, 10 that time, 15 that time, and then you can see average it's going to cost you about 15, because we go down the middle of the highest and the lowest sums and what they're averaging out at around. So you'll know exactly how much crafting is going to cost. So hopefully, guys, this has explained crafting a little bit better to you in this game, or at least shown you an easier way for you to do crafting in this game to make it a lot easier for you. So hopefully, guys, you like this video. Like, follow, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Also, Donny's Skills just subscribed while I was ending the video. To shout out to you, 3 finger salute amigo. Welcome to the Death Squad.